AI is reshaping how we work, and it's not just for techies, it's for marketers, writers, students, it's for all of us. The truth? AI is complex and often explained in ways only the deeply technical can follow. But it doesn't have to be. Introducing Guidely. We simplify AI with plain language and engaging visuals. When AI feels within reach, anyone can learn and grow with it. No fluff, no jargon, just clear, engaging, and expert led content that would leave you thinking, I've never seen it broken down this well.
Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. I really hope you do enjoy the video you just watched now. And guess what? I'm going to be doing the project breakdown for that video. This is a video that I worked for a client, and the client was super happy. And maybe I can even share his reaction on the screen while I'm even talking right now. Anyways, in this video, I'm going to be showing you how I get to achieve this, from the storyboarding to the animation. Some really nice tricks, animation tricks or technique that I'll be showing you in this, and it's going to be really awesome. Make sure you watch to the end because you don't want to really miss anything, okay? And of course, the project file is available for you to download and then dive in deep into the project. And of course, if you're going to be getting the project files, you'll be supporting my channel, enabling me to do more of this video. And if you're new to my channel, a lot of you are yet to subscribe. Please do subscribe, right? And of course, make sure you do like and drop a comment. It will really help the algorithm. I'm trying to achieve 5K subscribers, before the end of the year. It's not impossible, but with your help, it is possible. All right, let's get into the video. Alright, so I'm going to start with the storyboard, and here it is, the storyboard. All of this was developed in Illustrator, and all of this I had to come up with different kinds of frame that depict some UI web pages, basically. Also showing the transition to something more updated, like the AI kind of thing. If you notice here, this is a stripped down version for ChatGPT app. Here is more like a runway stripped down version of it, and these are just simple AI chatting, and something very similar to Sora runway too as well. So all of this was done in Illustrator. And then the character, I was able to make use of some, like, I brought in some free pick characters, but you will never know because the way I normally use them is very make sure that it's not so generic, and I just make sure I pick bits and pieces that I really need. And then beyond that, I also try and bring them in and match the styles. I think there are some changes that have actually been made to the final one, which you'll see in After Effects. So this is just an image. I brought this in from After Effects because I actually did all of this in After Effects first. I mean the Rubik cube in After Effects, and I take a screenshot before I could show the client. I think I should supposed to be showing you the storyboard first. This is more like the style frame, so let me see if I can just open that. Alright, so I was showing the stuff. This is the storyboard, right? This is what I sent to the client, and then some changes were definitely made. Some things didn't make it to the final cut, and you can see that from the storyboard, it's just plain black and white. It's just pitching the idea of what it is we want to go. So we had this frame before, and then of course this was changed. The client really liked the idea of that, and from here you can see this is where we now implement all the colors and have all the final changes here. So all of this was just right. The external things here is that maybe some of the characters was gotten from free pick, then overlaying them together to match with the brand tone, voice and look, and of course making sure it aligns well with the video objectives. And of course these two, to be honest, I didn't really do all of this from scratch, but they're actually quite easy and simple to do. I was able to get this, I don't know if it's for free pick for one other source, but every other thing was made by me. I came up with all these other ideas, these numbers, this transition, this text, came up with the idea for this. So I would love to show you mood board, but I didn't really do much on the mood board because there was this reference, a video reference, and I'm going to show you the video now. And the video is this Notion video, another video from Notion, and let me just play this. Right, so this is the video the clients provided, like, as a reference, right? Not like almost like it should be the same, but more like the look and feel of how the video should look like. So the client was making reference to the fact that he doesn't want it to be very symmetric. He wants it to have rough edges and all of that. So Yeah, that's a reference. And now we are going to move straight to After Effects. So this is the main composition, and as you can see, these are all the compositions that I have in here. Within the compositions, I have more composition. Let's get to it. So this very first scene, you can see right from even from the storyboard, I actually worked a little bit on the character because the client wants more details on the character, and as you can see, that's it. So let me open scene 1, and as you can see, it's roughing edges, and let me just quickly point that out. This is the adjustment layer that I use here, and as you can see from here, I have some really interesting effect that I've added to give this look. So but uncheck this, can you see the details? Can you see that it's actually quite sharp? But with this, it makes the entire composition looks like it is, has this rough edges to it. These are like some of the settings. Let me just quickly go through them. So the very first thing I have here is the noise. Let me just drag this down a little bit and move this to the side a little. So the very first thing I have here is noise. So I have one other thing here. So let me just deactivate this for now. So the first thing I added here was noise, and the noise here, I added a little bit of grain, and these are like the settings that I use basically. Then I added Gaussian blur to just try and even that out a little bit, and not so much, just about 5 pixels. I also added levels. So that levels now, bring all of that together to make sure it's making a whole lot of sense. And that in itself, already giving some kind of rough edges. Then I added sharpening, just make sure the details is coming out. So I also a little bit of tint to see what will happen, but I eventually didn't use it. So let me just delete this. So that's what is making the entire composition look this rough edges kind of effect. So one other thing I also added is this particular footage. So let me see if I can just double click it. So this is the footage here. It's like a film. Yeah, you can see I just use this and then make sure that the blend mode is soft light. This is without it, and then this is with it. It's very, very, very subtle, but those subtle things actually make a whole lot of difference. So those are like the effects on top of it. So now let's get to the character, get into the details of the animation. So the very first thing I did was to just bring all of this in. These are just simple positioning animation. And if I go straight, so let me just solo all of this. Let me make sure my background is selected. So basically what I did was just use simple positioning animation. Because all of this is happening at once, it can look confusing, right? What's going on here? And that's because I have all of this checked as well. So let me just solo one. Right, so as this one comes in, you can see that's a little bit of animation going on here. And one thing I also like to do, I also like to match cut to the next thing that is happening. So I know that I was going to introduce the other web UI, which is the second scene. For this particular web UI, the one it is transitioning to is this yellow one. So I'm just going to activate this. So if you look at this now, you see the animation that I did. When this is scaling out, this one under, so if I press U, so you can see that I have position and scale animation. So it scales in first before it scales out. So as it's scaling out, it's match cut to the next one here. And that's basically what I did for all the UI elements. And of course, I parent all of this to a null, and that's why we have this additional movement thing going on to the side. We have this scale. So basically that's what I did to all the UI elements, right? Making sure that it introduces all the elements, drag them in, and then they're now transitioning into individual elements that are prepared for this. That's basically what I did for those UI elements. And of course, if you want to have an idea of how my ease works, so this is my speed graph here, and I think I mainly use speed graph here. So you can see that steep end just to show you that match cut thing, and then see how this works at the end here. So that's how I get to achieve that. Also, let's go straight to the character now. So this is the character. So I make sure that effect that I applied is not affecting the character because it became too much on it. So let's go straight to the character itself. This is what I have, and I've actually arranged all of this in Illustrator, and I needed to do some masking just to tidy up some things. So here, if I press U, I use the puppet pin to animate some things. So let me just check the hand. Puppet pin is actually very good for things like this, to just animate some things. So if I check this puppet pin, for instance, you can see that I pin it here, pin it here, pin it here, and then I did some really simple animation. And this is the only place I added animation to just drag it out, right? And I repeated this a couple of times, and that's basically all I did to do this. You don't have any idea of how puppet pin works. Okay, so let me just duplicate this head, for instance, right? Just to show you what I mean. Press U. For the head, I made sure that I did rotation animation. there's really nothing much going on with the character. I didn't even animate the face, right? But the scene was so short, so I didn't see any need for me to do that. But just let me say you want to animate as it's, you know, as it's nodding, you want the cap to go down along with it, which is going to be, it might not be as straightforward as it should be, but I can go to my pin here, and then everywhere I want it to be static, right, I'll pin it. So I want it to be static here, I want it to be static here, I want it to be static here. Where I want it to move is this cap, so I'll click here, right? I think for now I'm just going to delete all this animation on the cap, right? So I'll make sure that the puppet paint is on it. So what I will now do, automatically as you are setting the paint, it will set up keyframes. So these are the keyframes for the puppet paint. So that is set. Now, because I want the cap, make it look as if it's looking down, or I can just drag this down here. And you see that the cap is dragging down. Of course, this is paint, so I need to drag this two here down. Maybe I can need to drag this two down as well, just to show a little bit of nodding or something like that. So I can drag this one up a little bit. It's definitely going to look distorted, but you guys get the idea, right? And that is how I get to animate the hands and every other thing. That's all. Then for the fingers itself, basically I didn't do this from scratch. If you know Emmanuel Colombo, he has this hand tutorial that he did. It was so good, and the project files, he was gracious to make the project files available. Let me quickly search for that tutorials, and then I'll show you now. So this is the tutorial I'm talking about. So yeah, you can try and watch this, and of course he did a fantastic job by explaining what this is. But to be honest, I was so out of time. I don't think I had the time to start reading the hand. It's something that I can easily do, but I just noticed that the project files were available, and I was able to just take it and then propose it for what I really needed to do for my own project. So our advice, if you really want to know how I get to achieve the hand, make sure you check Colombia's manual DOS motion to YouTube tutorial. Highly recommend it, and of course, even if you follow and subscribe to his channel. So that's how I get to achieve this, but I didn't just stop there by just taking this hand rig, because if I don't tell you, we don't know that I actually use this hand rig project, right? Because I actually go in there, did some modification myself, changed the animation, added fingers, because there was no fingers to this hand before, it was just plain, added fingers to it so that it can give me this contrast that I have here, and that was how I was able to do this. And of course, I parent it to layer 7 here, layer 7, which is the arm itself. You can say that this is just position. So as this is moving back and forth, moving the hand. So that's how I get to achieve this. There's nothing really much about this. I just want to make sure that it looks as if it's typing, and that's basically it. And if I go back to the main thing here, that's what I have. And then I cut to this scene. And of course, on the character itself, you can see that I added some turbulence display. So let me zoom in a little bit. This is without turbulence display. Can you see how smooth it is? This is with turbulence display, just to have that jagged look, to make sure that it's very consistent with the scene. So that's basically what I did there. Start this particular animation when we are not transitioning into the main thing. So I make sure that all of this animate out, full position animation, and then I have this. I'm going to go back to the main final video here and jumping straight to the next scene. Even though it says scene 3, this is actually scene 2. So what I did here, if I go to my scene 3, I made sure that I copy. Can you see where I cut off from the previous scene? This is where I cut it off, right? And I just copy and paste on this particular scene. That's how I was able to maintain that smooth transition. And then from here, if I press U, it's really nothing much going on here. So, but let me press U on everything here. Starting from here, what do we have here? So I have all these characters that I've built up. You can see that it looks a little bit different, right? And the client complained when I submitted the storyboard, he complained that, oh, they are looking too smooth. He wants something more hand-drawn with more details, and I was able to do that, right? And because I was so tight on timing, I actually did experiment with AI, and the result came out to be really good. And I think I went to is it Runway, or I think I actually did this in Artlist. Let me see if I can quickly get that. So this is, I think I did it in Artlist, and I use AI image video generation. I click on video and I click on image to video, and these are some of the generations that I've done before. Some were really good, some were not. Basically all I did was to just come here, upload the image, and then ask it to do simple animation. It's actually going to give me suggestion. Animate the 3 Illustrator characters in meeting, center gestures, the playing graph, and the character on the left side. Okay, I think this suggestion is really good. I don't mind it, and I can just click on generate, right? This will definitely do the video, but also one other thing I did was, before I did this, was to make sure that it added more details to the character. So that one was from image to image first, then from image to video. So yeah, the result might not be great, but this is how I get to, I just experiment with AI to see if I can get things done faster and better, basically. So can you see what it has done? So this is not exactly looking so good. With a couple of tries and spending more credit, you can get the kind of result that you want. So yeah, this is basically what I did in that particular scene. So I'm just going to minimize this and move on. So these are the videos that it generated. As you can see, I needed to do some masking. Can you see that it's not even so clear, so sharp, but the frame is so small that you'll not even notice in the first place. So can you see that it has more details, and I use AI to make sure that it created the details for me. So these are some of the parts you can actually leverage AI on to really help with your motion design work. So make sure you try to do that. So I'm going to go back, and then basically that's all I did for almost, if not the rest of the entire thing. Some that I wasn't getting good result from AI, I just had to, get my hands dirty and then get them done myself. So basically just simple positioning animation to bring them all in, apart from the character that I needed to scale. So it's oriented to this particular one. So I think while I was experimenting, I've done animation on this empty layer. So I just oriented to this to give me what I really, really want. Basically, just subtle, really, really subtle animation on all of this. And then this is now forming to the Rubik's Cube. And I think this is probably one of the most interesting parts of this particular video. I wish to take credit for this Rubik's Cube. Of course, I think I can take a little bit of credit because actually I have an idea of how to create this. It's actually quite straightforward. It's just tedious. And I knew that I'm going to create a couple of cubes in After Effects to achieve this, but I was still looking for a faster way of getting things done. I checked online and I saw this guy's video. Yeah, so motion shapes. He did a fantastic job by explaining how I get to achieve this, and it's not something that it is I didn't think of honestly, but I thought of everything and just expected he did everything. So if you really want to know how to really do this Rubik Cube, I would just recommend this video because this video is just perfect for it. Instead of me showing you all of this, you can watch like a 30-minute video how this was done. It's actually quite straightforward, a lot of split cutting and all of that, but it's quite straightforward and it's not so complex than you think. So, but one other thing I did was to make sure that my grid, so I made sure that this was framed to my grid. I think this is one thing you might be really interested in right now. So if I solo this particular layer here, let me just drag this up a little bit. You will see that I have this image. And this image is just a snapshot of how my end frame of the previous scene would look like. So this is the end frame of the previous thing. So I took a snapshot of that and then brought it here because I knew I was going to do like a 3D thing. I parent it to the main cube 3D pre-comp, and then as it is going, it just follows along. One other thing I did is, this is the cube. One other thing I did, if I uncheck this, I make sure that the color matches with the theme, like with the way it ended. So that's why it looks very seamless. If you notice, this is pink, blue, and kind of like let's say gray. If you notice here as well, you can see that my end frame was pink, blue, and kind of gray. So those are like the things you need to watch out for when you're doing transitions. Basically, that's what I did. And when I have my cube thing doing its own rotation, because this is the entire cube here and it has its own rotation animation when it is forming into the cube, and that's how I was able to achieve this. So basically all I did was just animate the opacity of this to give us that smooth transition. Yeah, that's how I get to achieve this, and the rest you will learn from that particular video. And then the transition into the next cube here. So this is the cube that I created myself. If I go back to this, it's actually made up of stroke. So basically all I did was to make sure that I use mask. So if I solo this, for instance, can you say that it is mask? And the way I get to do this is just if I create a solid let me make it 180 but let me make it 500 by 500 by 500, and I click OK. Right, so this is the let me just give it a color. Right, so you can see this is red, so let me just select only this. You can see that there's no way I can draw a mask here. I won't be perfect, but a very smart way of just getting a mask around this is just go to your shape tool, make sure it's selected, and double click. If you double click it, it will automatically draw a mask on it. So let me just change the color of this to this, and you can see the mask around. Change this to black. Yeah, you can see the mask around the solid. And what I did next is actually very simple. What I did next was to just apply an effect called stroke. So if I click on this and apply stroke effect to this, right, and then I choose on transparent and I increase the brush size, can you see that now from just being a solid square to a stroke square basically? And the way I actually got the dashes, right, was to play with the spacing. Right, the dashes are not entirely smooth because of this, and I think there are still some things that I can play with to make sure I achieve that. It's actually quite interesting. So, but then I can now animate the start and end of this. So basically, that's what I did to achieve the various cube thing that I did here. So let me just uncheck this. Let me make sure that this is transparent. So that's basically what I did here, and I just animated this. So there are some parts that I made sure it's dashes like I just showed you, and if I go back to my main composition, you can see that those dashes, they are there, right? Even though can be hard to see, but they're actually there. That's why I get to form this, and this is actually is in 3D. Let me press U on this. Okay, I think this is where I ended here, right? I just use opacity to fade out that Rubik cube while this is scaling in. So it is attached to a null here while it is scaling in. And if I go back, I can see that I've already introduced this other mathematical elements or formulas or whatever it is you want to call it. And these are just basic. I just brought them in straight from Illustrator and put them in 3D space and then just animate the Z. I make sure that they are all in different Z spacing, right? So as you can see here, you can see the way they are scattered all around from the top view. They are really spaced out in the Z axis basically. And from here, I just have this shape here. So let me just solo this. If I play this now, can you see this is the logo mark for the brand, and I just did this for that transition, and then the next scene was this, and I just have this introduce the logo. And this logo is actually quite easy and straightforward to do. Nothing really much here going on. If I open up the logo here, all I did was to draw a shape, right? I used my pencil to draw out the logo, and I separated them, and I used tracing the logo and applying trim parts. Then I just do alpha man. This is the logo itself to it, and then this reveals the entire thing. Quite interesting. And I just applied simple scaling animation. I use null to make sure that is done. I think that's pretty straightforward. And if you think I'm going too fast on some things, or I'm not going too deep on some things, I would strongly suggest you get project files. You get to learn more about this project. I'm pretty sure about it. So let me now go straight to where we have this really nice transition. This is something I've done before in the past. I've done this transition before in my past project, but for this time I remember that some of these packs that I have, which I'm definitely going to show you some of the ones that I make use of. I use Motion Bro, I use Atom X, then there's one I would like to talk to you about, which is AE Juice, which I think you guys should try and check them out. But let me just show you where I actually got this from. So I'm going to open Motion Bro. Motion Bro is a free plugin extension for After Effects, and they have some really free and some really cool paid stuff that you can actually use. These are some of the packs I have in store for Motion Bro, and I think the one I went for was this particular one. And let me go to transitions, and then let me try and look for it. I think it's this one. So I think it's this one here that I went for. Open this one up. If I go to my transition, exactly, so can you see it? So this is the transition, so this should actually, exactly, can you see? So this is the transition that I use already made. This is something that, like I said, this is something I've done manually before in the past because I actually like the effect. It's really, really nice. But I remember that this already exists. Why do I want to stress myself? So I just click apply. I brought it here and then I did about 3 of it. And one thing I did was to change the color to make it look dynamic so they don't really exactly look the same, just to sell that transition. And of course, make sure that it blends with the style. Can you see that it has the roughing edges too? That's because I went to the transition itself. I applied my effects and I also applied my effects and also maintained the brown colors and everything that I've been doing just to be consistent with it. This is one way of you trying to work smarter and work faster on projects when you have some already made assets. I'm not a fan of buying templates and don't just deliver templates to your clients. So just change text and that's it. No, I don't work like that way. But there are some things that are already made that can make your job easy, make your work easy, make it look original and really, really look good. All right, so let me show you the other pack that I wanted to show you, right? If I go to Windows and I click on Ages Manager, pretty sure you must have heard about this, and I'm just here to just let you know that this is one of the best pack out there where it will make your job faster, easier, and even in some cases even better. Like some of the pack that I have here, right? These are like the ones that I've purchased, right? And the free ones. So even imagine the free ones, you have access to a quite number of things, to the AI voiceover, auto caption, split screen. These are quite interesting stuff, right? So even hovering over it, you can easily preview what it is that you want to download. So these are Google icons, so you can even have icons for you to really work on, right? Look at this. That's some of the things you can do work on. Look at auto caption. So with this you can easily do auto caption also with AI voiceover. So these are like some of the free things that you will even get right from the pack. Yeah, so these are like some of the paid ones which I think you should really consider. But if you can't, that's fine, you can still stick to the free one. But I just want to quickly show you like a demonstration. I have a composition that I've prepared here and I brought in this pictures, these 2 black and white pictures. And amazing thing is you can actually get access to pixels, pictures and photos even from the free version, right? So if I click on pixel videos, you have access to some high quality videos which you can put. Also you have pixel photos as well, which this is where I actually brought all of this in. So I just downloaded them, inside them. So this makes it easier for you to work in After Effects instead of you opening a browser and trying to download. And so I prepared this composition, and then one pack that I would like to show you is the paper tone effect. I've been seeing that quite a lot in some videos and I think it's quite interesting. So for instance, I'm just going to, let me just make this a little bit small. I'm just going to click on this. So look at this one. I think I like this first one. So what I'll do, I'll just click on the download button and then it's going to do its magic. So now that it is done, can you see what just happened when I just click on import? And it automatically does the transition for you. All I really need to do is just drag this out there. So it's really useful. So let me just give this a totally different color, right? So this is my image. These are my images in pink, and then this is the transition here. Does that, and then don't just stop there. I can go back and then look for sound effects. Let me just manage my space really well. Let me just bring this here. This time around, maybe I won't have to do the purchased one. I can go to the free one, go to sound effects. Let me see, let me just search for it. Motion sound effect. So these are the free ones here. I can click on this and then I can just go straight to, let's say, paper. Let me look for paper effects. So I'll come here and then I can start previewing any of the sound effects. So I've actually previewed all the sound before, so I'll just download this particular one. So immediately you can see this, and I'll just uncheck the lock icon here, and then if I can now move this to where I want it to be. So if I play this now, this is what I have. Yeah, very good. So I can keep developing this to to get what I really want. So I can go back to the pack and then look for some other things that I can overlay with this. So let me go to the purchase version of this, and then I can look for something like hold film, and I can go to grain, something like this, and then I'll just import as well. You can see the effects on the entire scene, looking interesting. So one thing I can do, if I put this to the side, I can recheck the blend mode. I can try maybe overlay, and let's see how that will look like. All right, so overlay is really working well. So you can see the noise, and we just, few clicks there and there, I've been able to create something really interesting. So I can even try and explore more things here to see what will really work. There's still some film grain, some transition, film transition. I had some frames to make it look like it's really old school. So if I come here and then just add, let me add this particular one. Let me add this one so it will be very obvious. So now if I play this now, this is what I have. So let me just fit the screen. So with the frame I added, this is what I have now. Right, really looking interesting. So with just few clicks, you can see what I can really do, and I didn't have to leave After Effects for me to be able to achieve all of this, right? And then of course I can just put this aside for now and add a simple adjustment layer, then add effect called transform, and just do simple scale in animation here to make it more engaging. Let's say 1-0. If I press U, I have this zoom in animation. So if I play this now, this is what I have, which is making sense. So I can put this below the frame so it will look more engaging that way. As you can see there's a lot you can do with this, and you can even go ahead and check, go to the music, sound effect, and the music part, and then preview some of the music you can add to this. So I really hope this helps for you to see how powerful Aegis plugin is. There are a lot of things. Even if you don't even get the paid version, right, there's still a whole lot of things you can get right from even the free version. So which is really interesting. Look at auto subtitle, screen split, voiceovers, right from After Effects. So make sure you do consider it. If you do consider it and you want to get the packs, you can check in the link in the description. It's my affiliate link. If you do get the pack using my link, you'll be supporting my channel, and I really appreciate that. All right, let's get back to the main project breakdown. Basically, this is what I did here, and I transition, and I did this to transition to the next scene. So, and this is the next scene here. You can see that this is just coming in exactly. This is how I get to just simple position animation and then scaling, and that's how I get to achieve that. And then even here, because this layer down here is still making use of something, I still added a little bit of the transition myself because I needed to have that one or two pieces to still come in. This is me. This is the one I did manually, just to really make it look very ease on the eye and looks more natural, feels more natural, so to speak. So this very last few ones are actually mine. You can see that it blends really well with the frame. And then I just had simple position animation there. By the way, if you're actually new to motion design, make sure you check out my After Effects baby steps course. It's actually going to help you, just in case you might think, oh, this guy is not really explaining anything and all of that. So this is actually for a little bit of intermediate to maybe a little bit of advanced, maybe not so advanced, intermediate, right? Beginners to intermediate level of of this that I'm doing right now. And then the transition I have here is actually quite simple. I've actually used this before. So this is the tunnel transition. So if I open this up, it's something that I made in Cinema 4D. I made this in Cinema 4D before, and I've been reusing it in some of my animation. Basically, if I just uncheck this, you'll notice that the color, or let me uncheck the effect that I applied on them. So let me just salute this. This is what I have without the background, and then this is the tint. Without the tint, this is what I have, but with the tint, this is it. And one thing I did was to apply tint, then I also did fine edges. So this is without fine. Let me just put it this way. This is the raw PNG sequence. It's just black and white tunnel. And first thing I did was to apply tint, but then it's still looking too 3D-ish. Then I just needed to find that balance and added fine edges. So that fine edges is one that is not highlighting the edge, and that's because this one is actually hard. So this is now the normal, right? And then with this, So if I take the one on above, can you see how this one is looking? But now when I now added the one, I duplicated it and make sure that this is now having a different blend mode, and you can see how it looks like. It looks a little bit more flat. I think I've actually showed this in my previous videos, how I get to achieve this. If you are really interested, let me know. Put that comment in the comment section and then I'll make a video about it. All right, let's move on. Underneath here is a solid. It's a solid that's covering this engaging scene, and basically what I did was to just animate the opacity for this tunnel to take its effect. Can you see? So take its effect to this next scene, and this is the next scene here. If I double click this, can you see this is just simple scaling animation for all the elements. The blue thing scaled in and introduced all these other elements. So these are just simple circle elements. This is something I added later. This is not part, it wasn't in the storyboard. And these are just simple circle dots, some vector shapes that I applied to this. So I don't think there's anything really much to this. This is actually quite straightforward. So maybe one thing you want to see is my ease, which I think you guys should have an idea of how I work with my ease. So this is just how this was done, and this one step out. Let me do Ctrl A and see all the animation here. So this is how I brought all of this in. This is the main ellipse scaled in. They're just scale animation, basically scale and rotation animation. So let's move on to the next scene. And then this comes in, then do match cuts to this. If I press U here, I think U here, yeah, it's at this point that I did match cuts. So this is where it's cut into. So if you check my ease, can you see that it's at the end? I have that steep end there, and then if I now go back to my previous, you can see that it's cutting straight to this. So, and this was looking, the transition was so smooth. That's because the text node here is already animating in as well, right? If I show you my graph, you can see that I start from the steep end and then I just cut straight up. As this cut straight up, I animated this. So same graph as well, and then I already have my no here already, and then the other thing I need to animate is this fluff. So which, if you check here, can you see steep down? So it's just cutting straight, just using match cut to cut straight, and then I use adjustment layer basically, yes, I use this adjustment layer to animate the position to the left to the right when I'm introducing the other text as well. It's just simple position animation. And then of course I did some anticipation to the next scene. So move to the side, cut to the end, and then that's when we now have this particular scene. And I think this scene is one of the most interesting scenes. So if I go straight to this scene, a lot of things happening here is I would like to deactivate the camera and let's say the null, and let me also deactivate the camera effect, which is the lens blur. So this is basically the way it looks. So you can see that this comes in here to bring out the text. I get to animate the text. So for me, this is the long text. For some weird reason, I know how to use text animator, but it has now become so easy for me to just break this text into bits and pieces and then animate them. It might look crazy, but I have a really good plugin here called Text Exploder, and this just break the text very fast for me. So, and I can just simply apply one animation and then apply to the rest. So it makes it very easy and very fast for me to do. And sometimes it's even faster for me to do that in using the text animator, right? So this is basically what I did, just simple position animation and apply opacity. See, these are some of the things I was experimenting with. Then and I have this, this text coming in. So these are just simple shape basically. And don't forget, the reason why this is looking like it has this jagged edge is because of my effect, which I've showed you before. So without it, can you see how smooth it is? With it, this is how it looks. This is how it is without the camera thing going on. Then one other thing is my text effect here. Thank you, Guidely. I think this is it. So basically what I did was apply typewriter effects. So the one with cursor, and then I just make sure I animated the cursor out. If I do U, can you see I animated the cursor out, and then also duplicated the layer to have this underneath, and then mask the one on top because I duplicated the text, and then make sure that that one is white, and while I have this my background thing going on there. So that's how I get to do it. So let me now show you the effect of the camera. So if I activate the camera, this is what I have, and I activate my null is always going to be activated. So this is basically what I have. I just introduced the camera. I think the kind of camera that I used was I use 35mm lens for this one, and then I just apply rotation animation to this, right, at this edge. So just come in here, right, so you can see it is rotating from X. I'm literally animating all of this, basically all these properties. I animated them, maybe apart from the Z. I just bring it to this angle, and while that is showing, I brought this in here and show to this at this point. Now let me now introduce the effect, the lens blur effect. So if I introduce this, is the effect here, so let me put blur. This is the blur. If you notice, the blur right from the beginning, it has always been there. This is not in focus, here is in focus, then it was animated for this place to now be in focus, instead here out of focus. And the amazing thing is I didn't use the depth of field at all for this, so you guys are about to learn something really wonderful in this one. What I did was to create a depth map. So let me solo this first. So I created a solid, and the solid, I created a ramp, and the ramp, of course, it has both the start ramp and the end ramp. So what I did was to parent the start ramp to a null. So if I press U now, can you see this is the null? So this is the null here. You know what? Let me help you guys. I'll create a new composition. This video is getting longer, but I don't mind. I really want you guys to learn about this. So let me just create this from the beginning. I'll call this my map, make comp size, and then I'll apply ramp to this, gradient ramp to this. Make sure it is radial. I can swap colors. Anyone is fine. I think this will do. Bring this out, bring this to the center, and then I'll create an adjustment layer. I'll call this blur, and here, so this is my blur. Let me bring in a, let's say, let me bring any image that I have here. Okay, so let me bring this and drop here, and let me just put the map under. Now everything is looking sharp here, right? So I'm going to make it extreme so you guys can really see the difference. So everything is really sharp on this image, everything is in focus. But now if I now go to my blur, I'll add camera lens blur. And this time I'll go to the blur map, and I'll now choose the map itself. Now immediately, can you see that everything is blurry? But then I won't stop there, and I'll make sure that this is effect and mask. So now it is now back to being focused. Now let me increase the blur a little bit more. Now let us see what is happening with the blur. So I'm going to solo the blur. Can you see that whatever this black is, that is where it is in focus. So if I move my black start ramp to, let's say, towards the laptop here now, let's see what's going to happen. Let me uncheck this. Can you see what's happening? Now if I take the black ramp, because I still have access to it, can you see what's going on? So it is using the luma values to know where it is focused or not. So one thing I now did, because it's going to be very tedious for me to start knowing when this handle is, so one thing I now did for me to have more control is to create a null, and I'll call this depth control. Let me just drag it on top, and I'll click this. I'll open this up. I'll press P first so I can see the position. Click this, and I'll now hold on to Alt and click the start ramp, and then I'll take my P quick and then now put it on the position, and I click out. So as soon as that is done, this my null is now attached to the start ramp. So if I take my null and then now move it somewhere else, can you see now it's now controlling, right? And with this I can easily just animate whatever I want to be in focus. So I want this to be in focus, I want this to be in focus, and then with this I can have something interesting like this. And that's basically what I did. Really easy, really simple to do. That's basically what I did here. You can see I have my depth control. Let me uncheck my map, and then that is what I see. As this null is moving, you see that all those places get focused. You know, those other places get out of focus. That's basically how I get to achieve this, and I think it was really awesome results. So that's how this video was made. Please make sure you do check out the project files in the link in the description if you're getting to be supporting me, and I'll see you guys in the next video. I really hope you do enjoy that. I really hope you've been able to learn one or two things from that. If you do, please let me know in the comment section. And if there's any part of the animation you think I need to probably explain more, right, if I can, I will just put that in the comment section as well. If you're new to my channel, make sure you do subscribe. If you are yet to click on the thumbs up button, make sure you do click on that to really help the algorithm so that more people can get to see my videos. And of course, if you want to dive in deeper, like I've said, make sure you do get the project files. You'll be supporting my channel by doing so. I really hope you do enjoy this, and if you do anything really cool using my technique, using any of the things that I've done, even trying to replicate what I've done, make sure you do tag me. A lot of people have been doing that, and I really appreciate that. Make sure you do tag me, and I'll be happy to see that and also give my feedback. All right. I'm pretty sure YouTube is already suggesting the next video you need to watch from my channel. Make sure you do click on it, check it out, and then I'll see you next time.